All right, we got some new Zohran stuff for you as well. Where's the poll? Is this E1B is the new poll, guys? This is the same pollster. Yeah, E1B. This is the same pollster that we just showed you that had polled the New Jersey governor's race. They have a new poll out this morning of New York City mayoral race, and it shows a Mamdani blowout, 25-point lead over Andrew Cuomo and hitting 50%, which is kind of a key marker because if he wins a majority, then you can't say like, oh, if only it just been Andrew Cuomo versus Mamdani, then Cuomo would have won. So, you know, he wins, however he wins, but I think it would be an important show of strength if he is able to hit the 50% mark. Sliwa at 21%, that's funny too, that he's nipping at Cuomo's heels when the conventional wisdom has been that Cuomo's, obviously such a stronger candidate. And then you have 5% still undecided. Now, this shows a larger margin than other polls have been showing in this race recently. I saw a recent poll that had Zohran with only, quote unquote, a 10-point edge. So this is a bit of an outlier. I will say this is also the poll. All the polls in the primary wildly underestimated Zohran. This was the one that at least showed him with a chance of winning after he did like all the rounds and whatever. So they did have a track record of doing a little bit better in this race in the primary than some of the other pollsters. So take that for what it's worth. One of the things that happened here with regards to why Zohran opened up such a large lead versus this same pollster's prior poll is because you've had a consolidation of Black voter support behind Zohran. So he is now, and this was something, you know, Cuomo really needed to, he got that Eric Adams endorsement. I'm sure he thought that would help him. He really needed Black voters who were the most skeptical demographic group of Zohran in the primary to stick with him. It doesn't look like they did that. So in the crosstabs in this poll, some 70% of Black voters are now behind Zohran Mamdani. He wins every demographic group, though I think his weakest demographic group is white voters, but he still wins white voters as well. So, you know, obviously, if the electorate looks anything like this, if this is anything approximating reality, Zohran is absolutely going to romp. We've got a little bit of, put the first element up on the screen, E1. There was some concern from Zohran supporters because the turnout has been older in early voting than it was during the primary. This chart is a little bit confusing to me, but I'll just explain it to you what it means. So basically, that continues to be the case, that the electorate for the general election thus far is older than it was during the primary. However, it is much younger than it was for the last mayoral general election. In addition, you know, if you dig into the crosstabs, it's not like Zohran is like getting killed with older voters. He and Cuomo are neck and neck with older voters as well. And every day as the early voting has gone on, the electorate has gotten more and more youthful. So in any case, that was kind of the thing that people were holding on to, and the Cuomo camp was looking at these early voting numbers and seeing it was a lot of older voters and hoping that meant that some major dynamic within the electorate was being missed. But it does not appear that that is really the case.
This is all a fool's errand. From the day he lost the primary, I don't even know what this man is doing in the race at this point. Seriously, it's pathetic. Just concede, man. You're done. It's over.
They just can't. They just can't.
Yeah, I saw some reporting that Cuomo had like a $50,000 a year podcast deal lined up, but that got pulled from who's paying this guy 50 grand? 50 grand a month to host a podcast for the Cuomo Hour?
These media executives got to get it together, man.
Exactly, yeah.
They are so out of touch.
A genuine
They do not understand.
Throat.
Did you see that list of like podcast downloads for all the different 2028 contenders? I mean, Gavin was coming in the best.
Right.
But none of them were looking all that.
Not to download shame, but we would be in poverty if we got even the highest. For real, I'm not joking. Literally poverty if that's the number of downloads that we were getting. So yeah, I mean, I guess we can download shame a politician, right? It's not another independent creator or something like that. It's pathetic. It's pathetic.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a listen to the closing ads here. Let's start with Zohran. Let's take a listen. E3.
Socialist, Zohran, Mamdani.
He is a communist.
Hey, I'm the actual Zohran Mamdani, not the guy they talk about on this channel. My radical agenda? Turn the page on the billionaire-backed politics of Andrew Cuomo. Make the city affordable, tackle government waste, keep New York safe, and deliver on our promises. With universal childcare, rent that you can afford, and a property tax system that actually makes sense. So don't be fooled by the noise. This is who I am, and you're who I'm fighting for.
Paid for by Zohran for NYC.
Life in New York is tough right now.
Candidates who need on-the-job training can't fix it. I see a new day just over the horizon. With 5,000 more cops on the beat, the homeless off the streets, and 500,000 new affordable homes. Bringing New Yorkers together by unifying, not divided. Join me, and let's build a better New York starting on day one.
Ready on day one.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yes, he's ready. Indeed.
Ready to kill grandma on day one.
I really enjoyed that segment from the debate where he was like, what did he say? He's like, the state has been screwing over the city. And he was like, dude, you were the
Zohran's
guy
like, who was in
running
charge of the
state?
state? That was literally you.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Look, I'm
Yeah.
cheering for these guys to lose. I love it personally. I love it more than anything.
Cuomo,
I
it
love
just
seeing these
feels
establishment figures
so
of anybody.
Pathetic.
Yeah.
It just feels so pathetic. Like you can tell the desperation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can see like that whole affordable housing thing. Like he's like, oh shit, Zohran's on to
Yep.
something with that. I got to talk about housing, pretend like I care about this. Let me kludge that together with Eric Adams' message about public safety. Like it just all feels so sad. The various attacks they've tried to make on Zohran have been utterly pathetic. You know, he called someone who was a relative an auntie who wasn't technically an aunt. That was one of them. You didn't see
What
that.
was this? No, I don't follow Zohran. There's an entire industry of like Zohran stuff. Look, you know,
Somebody was mad about he ate it, like took his wife to like
The
a sushi
sushi.
dinner.
Yeah, I saw
There was
that
that one. There's an article about like his unfulfilled promises when he ran for class president in
Yes,
high
I saw
school.
that too.
Like, okay.
I saw that. I'm vaguely aware, but try to stay out of most Zohran things. I'm just more, at this point, I'm done with that. I want to see, I'm like, how are you going to handle yourself, man? Now you're actually going to be a politician, right? You're going to be the mayor, his honor, as they say, right? Isn't that the joke? It's like his honor with a Z in New York.
Oh,
in New York City, it's like his honor.
I haven't actually
It's like, yeah,
seen
you're
that.
going to be the mayor in charge of administering a city of like, what, 8 million people? Like, can you actually make any of this shit happen?
that's the
Personally,
question.
I'm pretty skeptical. I'll be honest with you. You've got a lot of these establishment folks who are kissing his ass. You bent on BLM. Now you have the NYPD who's in charge, but you've made all these promises. You got this whole coalition of people who may not be happy about that. What if Trump straight up defunds the city and you find yourselves bankrupt? Like, what are you going to do? You know, there's all kinds of stuff where you might have to go kiss his ass just to make sure that you can pick up the trash.
I'm sure.
How's that going to work?
I mean, we've seen
Yeah.
this play out with Trump before. When he goes hard at a politician, it inures to that politician's benefit. We saw it in Canada.
Sure.
We've
Right.
seen it in Chicago. You know, this is with Gavin Newsom. Like Gavin Newsom has skyrocketed in prominence and popularity with the Democratic base because of his attacks with Trump, his fights with Trump. So, I think if anything, those fights are probably, because the other thing it does is, let's say that things don't, like he's not able to accomplish everything that he sets out. If you've got Trump denying you your funding and like attacking you every day, then you've got a ready-made excuse for why you weren't able to deliver as well. Now, this is the other reason why I think the 50% mark is, it's an important marker, because the more momentum he comes in with, the more the Kathy Hochul's of the world, the more the establishment type Dems of the world are going to feel like they got to stay on his good side. They don't want to piss him off. They don't want him to back a primary challenger against him. They're going to have to work with him. And, already I think because of his popularity, there's a lot of sense of that. That's why that moment with Kathy Hochul at the rally where they're chanting tax the rich at her was a significant moment, because now they're all feeling pressure to support his agenda. And so that's why I think the margin is going to matter a lot, and the way he plays his cards. But there's
margin
no
matters a
doubt
ton.
rubber hits the road when you actually have to govern. That's going to be the real test, how people feel how he's fulfilling his promises, how people feel life in New York is going, et cetera.
I mean, think about this.
It's a very difficult job.
Let's say even this, if the rent doesn't go down, it's bad luck, right? You ran on freeze the rent. If it doesn't go down, that's devastating. I mean, I lived through Obama. People are as excited about this guy as I think that people were about Obama. I'm saying at a local level in New York. I don't think people who are young can understand how psychologically heartbreaking it was to actually live through like hope and change. And then 4 years later, literally none of that coming to play. And if you see look, some of it may not even be his fault. For example, let's say we get in a full-blown Great Recession. I mean, New York is the heart of the financial district, and Wall Street.
The AI bubble pops.
Yeah, the AI bubble pops. His ass might be in front of Congress begging for a bailout for billionaires, because if it doesn't, guess what's gonna happen? The whole city will go bankrupt. Like, their whole infrastructure. There's another thing that he's super at mercy of, is I've talked about the New York City tax system. It's entirely reliant on multimillionaires and billionaires in the finance sector to pay for the vast majority of the social services. If just 50 people leave the city of New York, I forget the exact percentage of what it actually is, it's a dramatic hit to the overall city operating bottom line. Why wouldn't they leave at this point? Just to fuck him over, right? Just to go over to Florida. Well, now you're facing like a literal budgetary crisis. Like, then you don't have statutory authority to raise taxes in the same way that even a state or the federal government does. So you can find yourself at mercy. I mean, I'm not trying to be a downer. I'm just demonstrating, like, when the rubber hits the road, as you just said, it gets very real very quickly. And if you don't have deliverables on one day or even 1 year, 2 years, people get cynical so fast. Or let's say crime. There's a massive crime explosion. Again, may not be necessarily your fault, but if you don't do enough to crack down on it, you're gonna eat the consequences. I've watched these people get rolled, so many different times.
It's probably the hardest political job in the country. Mayor.
I don't know, I wouldn't go that far.
I think it is.
I think presidents.
Because the thing is that you're actually like, the thing is, people do expect you to be responsible for like these little mundane, like my trash wasn't picked up. It's your fault, and you have all these competing interests, and it is a very difficult, like being mayor and being mayor of New York City in particular, it is a very challenging job. So yeah, the more strength he can show electorally, the more strength he can show in the movement, the more pressure he can put on the other political figures in New York and the other interests to have to work with him and have to come to the table. That is going to be critical to his success. So Griffin was actually able to get a question in to Zohran here about Hakeem Jeffries' endorsement. So very belated and very begrudging endorsement that Hakeem Jeffries gave. So let's go ahead and take a listen to that.
I just want to ask you, Hakeem Jeffries recently endorsed you.
Yes.
Any reaction to the timing? It was hours before early voting.
I appreciate Leader Jeffries' endorsement, and I'm excited to keep building a campaign that has shown time and time again the most important endorsements are from New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs. We have 7 days to reach out to them, and Leader Jeffries and I share a common purpose in delivering affordability for each and every one of those New Yorkers.
Have you felt the Hakeem bump in the polls?
Thank you, my friend.
You felt the Hakeem bump.
Look, our boy is all grown up. He's already a politician spouting platitudes and burying the hatchet in public. It's sad to see. It's sad to see.
I like the laugh at have you seen the Hakeem bump, though? I mean, Hakeem Jeffries is terrified of a primary. He's already getting a primary challenger. He's terrified of Zohran getting behind some primary challenger. And that's the thing, is like all of these politicians need to fear him, and fear his endorsement is going to be one of the key things for his success. One more clip here that I thought was interesting with regard to Andrew Cuomo talking about how there's a Dem civil war and really framing the stakes in the New York City mayoral race as being existential for his version of the Democratic Party. Let's go ahead and take a listen to that.
Truth is, there's a quiet civil war going on in the Democratic Party right now. You have an extreme left, radical left, Bernie Sanders, AOC, Mamdani is just the banner carrier for that movement, versus the mainstream moderate Democrats. They now call me moderate. They used to call me liberal. Now I'm a moderate because the whole party shifted. And that's what this election is about. It is that civil war. I believe that far left will destroy the Democratic Party. I believe it will destroy the Democratic Party nationwide if that far left becomes dominant.
My brother in Christ, you had to resign from governor in disgrace after not only multiple sexual harassment allegations, but all of the horrific COVID handling. And so, you are the emblem of the Democratic Party that has been rejected by the American public. Like, that's you. So he's right that there is a civil war going on in the Democratic Party right now. I don't think it's particularly quiet. I think it is incredibly fascinating. And for him,
It should be louder.
A Cuomo, it should be louder, you're right. A Cuomo who, you know, handed all of the political privileges in the world, with every billionaire lining up to try to push people out of the race and create a space for him and give him all the money that he possibly can. And, you know, and you're getting beat by this guy who came out of nowhere. I think it can show, it shows you, you know, where the country is. It shows you certainly where the Democratic base is, that they're done with you. Like, they have seen your model of politics completely fail in the most basic way. Like, your model of the Democratic Party, the one job that they assigned you with is you have to defeat Trump, and you all failed. So, yeah, the Democratic base is like, okay, well, what else is out there? Who is actually up to this fight? And he name checks Zohran, AOC, and Bernie. You know, these are some of the more, like, these are candidates who, whatever you think of them, they're at least interesting to people. Like, people show up for them. They have enthusiasm for them. They send them grassroots dollars. Bernie Sanders is the most popular politician in America. Like, you know, and then there's like Mikey Sherrill and Abigail Spanberger and you.
I'm cheering for Mikey to go down. I'll just say it. It's true. All right. I like to see something interesting happen in politics. Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.